The day Marcus walked into Stonehaven Penitentiary, the air seemed to shift. It wasn't just the usual tension that hung over the place like a thick fog. It was something deeper, something unspoken. Marcus didn't look like much at first glance. He was tall, with broad shoulders and a quiet presence, but his eyes held a gentleness that didn't belong in a place like this. He didn't belong in a place like this. But life had a way of throwing people into the fire, and Marcus had been burned before. He had been wrongfully convicted of a crime he didn't commit. The evidence was flimsy, the witnesses unreliable, but the system didn't care about the truth. Not when it came to someone like him. A black man with no money, no connections, no voice. So he was sentenced to 10 years in one of the toughest prisons in the state. 10 years for a crime he didn't do. 10 years of his life, stolen. Marcus didn't complain, though. He wasn't the type. He had learned early in life that some battles couldn't be won with words. He kept his head down, did his time, and waited. He had faith that his sister, Lena, would find a way to clear his name. She was his only family, his only lifeline to the outside world. Her letters kept him going, her words a reminder that there was still hope. But hope was a fragile thing in a place like Stonehaven. The prison was run by gangs, and the most powerful of them all was the Iron Fists. They were ruthless, controlling everything from the drug trade to the cafeteria lines. Their leader, a man named Vic, was a monster with a reputation for breaking anyone who crossed him. And for some reason, he had taken an interest in Marcus. It started small. A shove here, a stolen meal there, then it escalated. Threats whispered in his ear, crude drawings left on his bunk, a knife slipped under his pillow. Marcus didn't react. He stayed calm, his face a mask of quiet resolve. He had been through worse, much worse. What the Iron Fists didn't know, what no one knew, was that Marcus wasn't just an ordinary man. He was a martial artist, trained in disciplines that most people had never even heard of. He had spent years mastering his body and mind, not for fame or glory but for the peace it brought him. He had never wanted to fight, but life had forced his hand more times than he cared to count. And now, here he was again, backed into a corner. The night it all came to a head, the air was thick with tension. Marcus had just finished his shift in the laundry room and was heading to the showers when he felt it. The shift in energy, the subtle change in the atmosphere. He knew what was coming. He had seen it in the way Vic's eyes followed him, in the way the other inmates avoided him. The Iron Fists were going to make their move. He stepped into the showers, the sound of dripping water echoing off the tiles. He didn't have to wait long. 4 men stepped in behind him, their faces hard, their eyes filled with malice. Vic was at the front, a shiv glinting in his hand. "You think you're better than us, huh?" Vic sneered, his voice low and dangerous. "Time to teach you a lesson." Marcus didn't respond. He just stood there, his back against the wall, his body relaxed. He had been here before. He knew how this would end. Vic lunged first, his shiv aimed straight at Marcus's chest. But Marcus was ready. He moved like a shadow, swift and silent. He sidestepped the attack, his hand snapping out to grab Vic's wrist. With a twist, he disarmed him, the shiv clattering to the floor. Vic stumbled, his eyes wide with shock. The other 3 attacked at once, but Marcus was a blur of motion. He blocked a punch, countered with a strike to the throat, and swept the legs out from under another attacker. His movements were precise, controlled, every strike calculated to incapacitate, not to kill. He didn't want to hurt them, he just wanted them to stop. Within seconds it was over. The 4 men lay on the floor, groaning in pain. Marcus stood over them, his breathing steady, his face calm. He looked down at Vic, who was clutching his ribs, his face twisted in pain and fear. Who are you?" Vic gasped, his voice trembling. Marcus didn't answer. He didn't need to. The truth was written in the way he moved, in the quiet power that radiated from him. He wasn't just a man, he was a force of nature, a legend. And now everyone knew it. Word of the fight spread quickly. By morning, the entire prison was talking about the quiet man who had taken down 4 members of the Iron Fists without breaking a sweat. The gang steered clear of him after that, their bravado replaced by a wary respect. Even the guards looked at him differently, their eyes filled with a mix of fear and curiosity. But Marcus didn't care about their fear or their respect. He just wanted to go home, to see his sister, to live the life he had been unjustly taken from. He continued to write his letters, his hope unwavering. He knew the truth would come out eventually. And when it did, he would walk out of those iron doors with his head held high, not as a prisoner, but as a man who had endured. A man who had survived. A man who, despite everything, had never lost his humanity. And maybe, just maybe, that was the greatest strength of all. The days turned into weeks and the weeks into months. Marcus's case gained attention on the outside, thanks to Lena's relentless efforts. New evidence came to light, witnesses recanted their statements, and slowly, the truth began to emerge. The day Marcus was finally exonerated, the sun seemed to shine brighter than it had in years. As he walked out of Stonehaven, the weight of the prison walls lifting from his shoulders, Marcus took a deep breath of fresh air. He was free. Not just from the prison, but from the anger, the pain, the injustice. He had faced the fire and come out stronger on the other side. And as he stepped into the waiting arms of his sister, Marcus knew one thing for certain. No matter what life threw at him, he would always rise. Because that's who he was. A fighter, a survivor, a legend. Hey everyone, if this story moved you, if it made you think, or if it reminded you why we need to keep having these conversations, please take a moment to like this video. It really helps spread awareness. I'd love to hear your thoughts, so drop a comment below. Have you ever witnessed or experienced something like this? Let's talk about it. And if you believe stories like this deserve to be told, make sure to subscribe to the channel. We're here to share real, powerful stories that need to be heard. Lastly, share this with your friends and family. The more people who see this, the more we can bring awareness and change. Thank you for watching and being part of this journey. Let's keep pushing forward, together.